back. We're back after an impressive win.
Yes.
I enjoyed it thoroughly because, again, I kind of got into this business to do, well, fun, creative stuff, but also I got to watch some football in a private box in the sky.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I get to do, and I really, really enjoyed the game. Let's just start. Here's what I first noticed, and I want you to talk about this a little bit, is it wasn't that hard for me to see the defensive scheme was really, really well lined up to the offense that I expected to see. Like, I expected, because newspapers know, I expected that dude to run right every single play.
Yeah.
He didn't run right very much. So tell us a little bit about the prep for this team.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, their quarterback, very athletic kid, University of Houston commit. Maybe one of the better runners that we'll probably face all year, one of the better runners in the state, and has a good live arm as well, and a lot of firepower with Westmore on their offense. And Coach Clark and the defensive staff just had a great scheme to try to keep him bottled up the best we could. I think he had negative yards rushing at halftime and things like that. And defensive players did a really good job keeping bottled up.
Negative 12 total offense the first half.
That's good. Yeah, it gives yourself a chance to win. And offense kind of got started off fast, but had some struggles and those kind of things, and defense kind of kept us in it, as you mentioned. Really good scheme by Coach Clark and the defensive staff, and very good execution by the kids.
All right, let's just keep that going. Who was the defensive player of the game?
Yeah, defensive player of the game was Marcus McGrew. And those guys sometimes don't get a lot of credit being in the front, especially playing nose and defensive tackle, and they're taking on double teams the whole game and just continue trying to find ways to get pressure on the quarterback. And a lot of times when those guys are doing their job, you don't notice them because they're able to get us a lot of one-on-ones on the pass rush because they're taking up too. And he did a great job of that, still able to, make plays and, gobble up a lot of double teams.
Okay. And I had something similar. I was more thinking of the unsung hero was I think you had several ends or tackles. I think you had Bastida out there. I think you had Will Smith out there. That was just kind of sitting, cutting off that run lane, that escape lane, that bootleg lane on the right side of the play. I kept seeing them, and they just, a lot of times they didn't make a tackle.
Yeah, Nolan Bustle.
Nolan Bustle was there too,
Yeah, Bastida, as you mentioned, Marcus, amongst other guys, Rashid Arnett, guys doing a really good job. Will Smith, had a sack big, at the beginning of the game, kind of set the tone a little bit. But yeah, I mean, anytime in football, it's like always so hard, to when you start mentioning like single guys, because there's so many guys that do such a great job to make the play go. And the game of football, one reason I think it's so special is you have 11 guys on the field, and 10 may be doing what's right, and one has a critical error, and the play's not good. So anytime you see a guy making a play, that meant the other 10 were doing their jobs as well. And so, as you mentioned, those guys did a great job up front. Defense as a whole, played really, really well. Other than a couple critical errors, but that we'll be able to get fixed. But for the most part, did a really good job.
Okay. And last thing I really want to say about defense and I know I was a little nervous, and I know some fans were a little nervous about, this is really our first full game.
Right. Yeah.
I was worried about them working together, and again, a defensive line is not one person. But I was, and it looked like they were actually having fun out there, and I appreciate that. I think they were ready to play some football.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, just having that big of a layoff of playing, and something that didn't really dawn on me until after the game that someone mentioned is like, our glimpse of gold was canceled due to lightning. Right. So we didn't get that scrimmage, and you have a half game versus Seeing Springs, and then a half game versus Del City, and then then a week off, and you had the heat delays and all that stuff, and then and then that game. So really we've played one game in a month of football, and so yeah, as you mentioned, like you don't know a lot of things about your team, and so you try to kind of figure that out as well, and so. It takes a little bit kind of to get gelling and all those things, and one of the best ways to simulate playing football is to play football. You try to do it in practice and you try to simulate those things, but bottom line, it's really, really difficult to simulate a game atmosphere and all that while in practice, no matter how good of a job you try to do with your kids. All
right, let's flip around. Let's talk about offense, and we saw something. Of course, every year is a different offense, but we saw something unique where we had Cash was out there. Mm-hmm. Line, making some yards, doing some good things, and all of a sudden we saw a whole new, not just like one or two, but a whole new set of people coming out with the other quarterback. Tell me a little bit about the thought process behind that, and tell me about the successes that you see with both teams.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like you have a lot of kids that can play. So when you have a lot of kids that can play, you're trying to get them reps, and so I don't know the exact number, but we played over 30 kids on offense, the other night, and so you're having a lot of substitutions in, trying to get a lot of guys very deserving playing time, and try to utilize people's skill sets and things like that. And so, yeah, it's like we're always willing to adapt and kind of move the needle a little bit, left or right, based on what kind of personnel we have and those kind of things. And so a lot of kids that can do some really unique things and have really good skill sets, and so we're just always trying to find ways to utilize those and give them the best chance to be successful. And so, yeah, we're trying to play as many guys as we can and get those guys reps, and as you mentioned, guys did a really good job executing and finding ways to score points.
All right, we're going to go to the offensive player of the game, and I'm going to say mine. Mine's a little different.
Okay.
Mine might not be truly the offensive player of the game, but this was one of the more exciting times that I got to watch an offensive lineman. And I don't know who that young man was, but it's one of Cash's big runs.
Okay.
He pulled out of the guard position, came out there, and just cleaned somebody's clock. You know what I'm talking about.
Probably Jace Robinson, my guess, on that.
So I don't know if he deserves player of the game,
He's
but
a really good player.
anytime that I can go get excited about an offensive lineman making a play, he was fast.
Yeah, he is very fast. We've been known for having really athletic linemen, and this year's no different. And so we have, all of our linemen can run and move and things like that. And how what it takes to play offensive line here is maybe a little bit different than other places. Our offensive linemen can all do 8 or more pull-ups and can run, and they're really athletic and good athletes. And so anytime we get a chance to try to utilize that and showcase that, we will. The staffs and the team's offensive player of the week was Cash Williams.
Okay.
Ran for almost 2, threw for over 100, almost 300 yards of total offense. Did a really good job. Just setting the tone early, with a couple of huge runs that kind of, set the tone for the offense, and just really managed the game very, very well. Threw the ball well, ran the ball very well. Didn't put us in situations where we had critical errors and behind the chains and all that kind of stuff. And so just couldn't be more impressed with him. And as you recall, he started a year ago in this game versus Westmore as well due to a quarterback injury. So it was not from that standpoint not new to him to go be in that stadium with the start and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that his poise and and experience has paid off, because although it's his first year starting at quarterback, he's been a starter on defense for 2 years as well since his freshman year. And so I think all those things just led to him just being very, very calm and doing a really good job making great decisions and putting us in an excellent position to be successful. Of course, as you said, Choctaw has been fortunate enough that we've seen all these players have some time on Friday night before. We've had some fortunate games where you could pull off maybe the starter last year, put some freshmen and some sophomores in. So I think that's very important experience. Yeah, absolutely.
So, exciting game. We're going to have, I pulled a bunch of clips. So we should have a bunch of clips out here. I saw a lot of good, I even have the energy just out of pulling these clips, because I kind of expected just kind of Thursday night, just dragging a little bit. Why,
Right.
it was still hot. It
was very hot. Yeah, it was very
But they were flying around, having fun. Because again, we talked about this earlier. Practice is practice, right? But what makes practice worth it is to get to go play a game and get to go do your stuff. And so I'm excited. We do have a bye week, which I think is a great bye week actually, because we can look. Not me. I'm not in the room. It's you. I just sit back and do this. You get to look at what they do, prepare for Putnam North, which I'm excited about. We get to go to Port North. It's one of the stadiums I've never been to.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Never been to. I've been to a lot of stadiums. I've been going to games for a long, long time. I think in the last 20 years, I just missed maybe 15 games in the last 20 years. I like Choctaw football. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And it's a lot of fun when you have your kids, my kids too, out there doing some stuff. And so.
Yeah, excited, like you said, coming off a bye week, getting ready for district play, which, if you're a fan, those are the games that count towards playoffs, towards seeding, all that kind of stuff. So it's really a time that you need to be playing your best football, during district. And so those first 3 games, obviously we played one of them to completion, kind of prepare you for district. And so we know that we have to correct a lot of mistakes in a hurry. We're trying to utilize this bye week to try to do that. You can finally get some evidence on film, some things, man, I need to correct this, we need to correct this, we got to get better here, and all those kind of things, and kind of figure out what your strengths are and where you need to continue to shore up, your weaknesses going into a district. And as you mentioned, Putnam City North, always dangerous, always athletic. be a really, good team, well coached. Coach Lane and staff do a great job there. And so, we have to continue to like get better just because, our first goal is always to win a district title. And to do that, you need to win every district game. So it's always go 1-0. But, the very first goal is to win a district title. Last year, obviously, 2022, first ever 6A district champions, here in Choctaw history. And we're trying to make it back-to-back this year, and do that. But to do that, we know we got to get a lot better in a hurry and feel like we're a little bit, behind in some areas just because of the lack of playing experience, due to other events and things that have transpired this year. And so, we're, as you mentioned, trying to utilize this bye week to try to, get really good in a hurry.
All right. So, last thing I want to talk about, you want lava in the background. What do you want lava in the background?
Well, my little two of my 4 kids are big lava fans. We like the floor is lava, and we like watching this stuff on YouTube, and they enjoy that. So I'll be sure and show them this, and I'm sure they'll get a kick out of it. So my 4-year-old and my 3-year-old Keon and Kyson will be pretty excited to see that. Well,
we're gonna make the lava happen. I was thinking it was like
something like this.
The team's kind of like lava. It's just been sitting there. Now we're starting to flow.
Trying to get hot.
And when you start to flow, you get hot.
That's right. We're trying our best to get hot in a hurry.
So there's nothing. We'll be here again next week.
Yes.
We'll talk about bye week and kind of the bye week schedule. I'm freaked out that I have another Friday night off.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird.
My wife literally doesn't know what to do when I'm home on Friday night.
My wife knows what to do. She will assign a lot of duties for us around the house, so she knows exactly what to do.
Well, my wife actually has rehearsal on Friday night, so I'll actually just get to go home.
You're doing pretty good. My wife will take full advantage of it if we have a Friday night off.
So no game Friday, although we just put a volleyball game up on Tuesday.
Yes.
And so we had to cancel last week's volleyball game because it was at the same time as the football game.
Right.
So, but we got a volleyball game up Tuesday. I'm super excited about that. And so if you need some sports, it's archived. So go back and watch that volleyball game and, watch a lady shine. So,
absolutely.
We'll be back with football in 2 weeks, but we'll see you next week here. And until next time, stay classy.